Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about something we did not expect to talk about. We're going to talk about Star Wars and Assault. And we're not talking Rebel Assault, the game. No. We're talking actual Assault and the R word, the big R. And yeah, this is coming up in conversation because there is an attempted big R in an episode of Andor, and now the director has stepped in it because he said that we're all a product of the big R.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I haven't got to watch these episodes yet. I guess like when they started out yesterday.
Yeah.
Andor came out yesterday. I haven't got to watch them yet because they're dropping them in chunks of 3 episodes, I think. But I just haven't had time. Now I'm kind of like, do I want to watch it? You know, because they're already starting with this crap. So now I'm kind of like, I don't know. I was all, kind of on board, and now I'm kind of like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend the time on it now because, I mean, why are they doing that? I mean, in Star Wars, I mean, they tried to do it before with, like, the Emperor supposedly, like, force raped Shmi.
Force raped.
And then, they walked that one back, too. Because people they don't feel that you should have to. When you want to have like a really cool fantasy world and stuff, you really don't want to have to deal with thinking about that in the world. But the flip side is they also talked about, other subjects that are very touchy in Star Wars before. Yeah. So
I mean, yeah, you can kill kids, right? That's
slavery,
cool. Yeah,
slavery, that kind of stuff.
You can do, So, yeah, I mean, do I think, again, we're talking about fictional world, but you've got a fictional world where you have a bunch of space fascists that took over. Do I think that this went on in the fictional world? I'm sure it did. Did we talk about it? No, because the movies were PG-13. Mm-hmm. So it is kind of jarring, but then again, Andor is a darker Star Wars story than what we're used to. But I think what we want to focus on in this video is we're going to talk about the director who is not doing the show any favors by saying what he's saying. And this happens so often. There are actually good pieces of media, good shows, good movies, whatever, that the narrative winds up being all about something dumb that somebody associated with the show or movie or comic book or whatever said, even if the show itself isn't bad. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to talk about that. Just you gotta really in these unprecedented times, you kind of have to watch what you say, because right now you're going to have a bunch of parents or whatever, normal people just kind of looking at like, oh, that's the Star Wars show where everybody gets graped. Then some people might want to watch because of that. I don't know. But it's like, so let's talk about this. And then we're going to talk about Kathleen Kennedy leaving, not leaving. Before we get into it.
I know I'll explain it, but yes.
Before you get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, you will get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
Yeah, I don't know if we should woohoo for this, though. But this is... So, basically, let's get to what was actually said. This is Tony Gilroy, and what he actually said was that we're all a product of rape.
Yeah, like you could put it in the show and say, okay, it's a lawless time or whatever, which understandably makes sense. It probably happened a lot. It's not that hard, not big of a jump to assume that would happen. Right. And instead of like just putting it as it was and like just saying that we want to talk about some, topics that people might find sensitive or we might, that people aren't used to seeing, but they would probably happen. No, he has to go and say that, well, we're all results of that anyway. And I'm like, really?
Yeah. So here's this full quote, because they talked about whether or not this scene, we'll talk about the reaction. Fan reaction's not good to this, because they're like, in Star Wars, really? Do we want to talk about this? But he was asked about the scene. He said, I get one shot to tell everything I know or can discover or that I've learned about revolution, about battles, with as many incidents and as many colors as I can get in there without having the story tip over. I mean, let's be honest, man. The history of civilization, there's a huge component of it that's rape. All of us who are here, we're all the product of rape. I mean, armies and power throughout history have committed it. So to not touch on it in some way, it was just organic and it felt right. Phrasing coming about as a power trip for this guy. I was really trying to make a path for Bix that would ultimately lead to clarity, but a difficult path to get back to clarity.
Huh? Okay, here's the thing. It's like, I get what he's going for, but You just made it worse, dude. Like, people aren't going to be okay with it anyway. This is also the guy who was bragging about how they got to put bathrooms in Star Wars. And they were rewriting a lot of lore because there's a lot of empty spaces and they were allowed to do pretty much what they wanted and stuff like that. But now we're in a... it'd be stupid to assume it didn't happen in a galaxy far, far away. But do people really want to know?
Yeah.
Do you know? I mean, is that something you want to talk about? Not really.
He said Disney didn't care. He said he was asked about.
They're gonna care now.
He was asked about Disney's reaction. Gilroy said he didn't get any studio pushback. No one ever said anything about it. But what I mean is we have limits on what we can do. We're aware of what we can do sexually and violence-wise. Those limits are made very clear. So it's probably
then why did you do this?
You could brush right up against it. But
well, so many jokes.
Phrasing. But no, I guess it doesn't actually, again, I haven't seen the episode, but it doesn't actually go through with it. But people are just like the fact that
you're the
implication, which look, if you're going for a darker Star Wars, and Star Trek has gone down this road before, yes, right?
True. So, I
mean, I get that, but I think what is causing him or going to cause him problems and potentially cause, not that, there's a whole lot of Star Wars fans left, but potentially cause Disney problems is him being all like, we're all the product of grape.
Yeah, this is what gets me. I mean, I get, in the circumstance why they would put that in the show, even though, because this is definitely a more adult Star Wars show.
Yeah.
And I get it. And I get, because they're dealing with a lot of more heavy, type situations. So I don't think it doesn't necessarily fit this show. I just think it's weird that's what he said about it,
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, he just, the way he worded it too is just, like you said, phrasing was probably not the best.
So this is Bix Kaylene, a rebel fighter who was tortured by the Empire in Andor Season 1. She's experiencing PTSD in the third episode of Season 2. Imperial Lieutenant Kroll attempts to force himself on her while she's hiding on a farming planet. In the scene, he references the fact that she's an illegal. See, that's just it. They're trying to put messaging in there. That's what people are like, And offers to stay quiet as long as she sleeps with him. When she refuses, Kroll attacks her and she kills him with a wrench. Well, there you go. Self-defense, right? Yeah, it was attempted. It wasn't like they actually went through with it. And I'm thinking, Braveheart. Braveheart. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, this was always going to be a darker Star Wars story. And here's the thing. This is one of the few Disney Star Wars projects that people like for the most part. Mm-hmm. And now, he might have stepped in it. I'm just thinking they should have called this one Rebel Assault, right?
I get why I get why they went there, and I get why it would work. If it doesn't work in a show, Andor's the one that would work in. I haven't seen the episode, so I don't know if it works or doesn't work. I'm just more concerned about the fact that they're just kind of like, matter of fact, like, yeah, Disney didn't tell us we couldn't, so and I'm like, but okay, here's the thing. It's another case of where you're caretakers of an IP. You just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
I think because a lot of people, like, for them, Star Wars was their childhood and everything else. And sometimes, realism can go too far because people want it for escapism. And if you're a victim of that kind of thing, then you can't escape to watch Andor, can you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, not to bring Star Trek into a Star Wars conversation.
Yeah, true.
Star Trek has dealt with some pretty weighty topics too. So this is Eleanor. So this person's asking for a trigger warning. Please spread the word for those who have yet to watch. Andor Season 2, Episode 3 ought to have a trigger warning for attempted non-graphic sexual assault. Please take care of yourself if that's a subject that's traumatic for you. Yeah, I mean, that'd be kind of weird. But I guess that's the thing. Like Star Trek, especially, shows like Deep Space Nine, they dealt with weightier subjects, so it was kind of expected. But if you're watching a Star Wars show and you're like, oh, damn, we almost had the big R in Star Wars. That would be kind of like, what the hell?
You have to consider the IP, and if it's, again, like I said, Andor is definitely more of an adult show. I mean, the trigger warning thing, they were putting trigger warnings on like stuff because it was a product of its time. So it's surprising to me they aren't putting a trigger warning on.
I know, right?
Honestly, they have to be warnings for everything.
Put a trigger warning on Peter Pan, but you don't put a trigger warning Put
I
a
know,
trigger
right?
warning on
Exactly.
this. Yeah,
And
right.
it's like, was someone not paying attention? I mean, I don't
think
know.
I think that's more what it is. I mean, this is the thing. When we tell people Disney is a compartmentalized company, we're not just pulling your leg. We're not trying to make excuses, whatever. They really are. And this is probably like Lucasfilm versus like Disney proper, right? Lady Gravemaster says, spoilers, Disney Star Wars has finally sunk as low as it can, attempted R word, big R in a children's IP.
Andor is definitely not for kids.
Yeah, I think now I don't know, because I'll tell you the truth, I don't really pay attention to the ratings and stuff on shows because I watch like everything. But I mean, I think they need to be like, hey, yeah, this isn't like Ewoks and shit. This is like hardcore Star Wars. Star Wars Theory. Oh God, he's gonna get himself in trouble. SA in Star Wars feels unnecessary. You can portray power dynamics and making the audience hate the Empire in other ways without taking it to such a disgusting place. Vader wouldn't tolerate this shit, nor does the Empire condone it. Has no place in Star Wars, period. Unnecessary.
Yeah, it is unnecessary. I just think that like it doesn't really have a reason other than they wanted to see what they could get away with. Like, I get what they're thinking. I get they're thinking it's a lawless time and all that crap. I get what they're coming from. But, and when it comes to Star Wars, you should be like, no. I mean, we could go there, but I don't think we should. And they went there anyway. It doesn't feel right for Star Wars.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Again, haven't seen the episode, so maybe it works when you see it in an episodic form. If it does, in the comments, you can tell us, because I will watch it, but I just haven't had time yet. It's just, and then his behavior, like the way he said it, like
that's okay. That's
we're all here because of that. So who cares?
Yeah. So I mean,
that belittles it too, in a way.
Yeah. So that's the thing. It's not even. I guess it's not even the fact that they went there in Star Wars, because it doesn't actually happen, right? I mean, she clocks
she stops it. Yeah,
she stops it. It doesn't actually happen, but the fact that he's just kind of like, well, you know what? We're all here because of rape, so whatever. Whatever.
Yeah, that's
I mean, I'm sure he's not being that, but again, this is another case of somebody associated with a TV show or movie or comic book or whatever, that maybe the product itself is fine, but because they say things that they probably should not have said, then it's going to misrepresent that product to the media and the consumer, and they're gonna be like, oh, this is the rapey Star Wars show.
See, this goes back to that thing, like he was all excited about they're gonna have bathrooms, and I'm like, do we need them? I mean, I get the fact that where they go to the bathroom is part of it. I get that. However, I don't think people are asking themselves a burning question like, I really, really want to know where they go to the bathroom in Star Wars. I really want to see their toilets. No one was asking for that. Like, there's just some things that you probably know exist, but you don't want to actually see it in relation to the IP.
It was kind of weird because I had the Star Wars, the visual encyclopedias, right? And I remember picking them up. I think the first ones, I want to say, they came out like late 90s, around when they did the special editions.
Yeah, they were. I remember them. Yeah.
Yeah. And I had I'm looking at the Falcon, and I'm like, oh my God, there's a kitchen and a bathroom on the Falcon. Who the hell knew? Like, I thought,
it's not something you were clamoring to see or know about.
No, but I'm like, that wasn't in the Kenner toy. Where's the shitter?
Yeah, I know,
it's like,
right?
I just assumed, I guess when I was a kid, because you never saw anybody use the bathroom in Star Wars, right? I just assumed that they just like pulled over at some like intergalactic rest stop and took a dump and went about their way. Hey, Chewie, you gotta take a shit.
I'm just like,
just like that.
They were so obsessed about presenting things like that, and then the scene, and it's just, to me, I would just. I don't know. I haven't seen it. It might be really good. I've seen mixed comments on it. But I'm just like, I think I'd focus more on the story and less on worrying about the bathrooms and things like that. That's just me, but it might work. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. It could work. I just wish he wouldn't make it worse by opening his mouth.
That is the problem. And like, we've seen this before. I mean, I saw it with Blue Beetle, especially, where I actually like Blue Beetle. I didn't think it was that bad, but the people associated with it and the people who put the trailer together, should have been slapped because they really did a huge disservice. They tried to make the movie a lot more political than it actually was. And they really misrepresented it. And I think now everybody's going to be, so now you're going to piss people off on both sides. You're going to have people to be like, well, one, there needs to be a trigger warning. And two, why are we doing this in Star Wars?
Well, and the thing is, it's like, the D&D movie is another example. People were, it wasn't emasculating at all, but they were leading into it. We emasculated men, ha ha ha. And it's like, but you didn't.
No,
and then you lost a bunch of your audience. And it's like, now your first episodes come out and you're like, oh, that scene and the stuff you say, now people might not watch it. Or if you just hadn't said anything about it, no, and the way the show is over to make comments, you still it wouldn't have impacted you in any way. There's no reason to bring it up.
So some people like it though. Another fan account.
Okay if it works. Like I said, I haven't seen it in the episode. It might work within the episode. I haven't seen it.
Andor dared to go to the darkest places Star Wars could offer, an Imperial offer abusing his untouchable status to grape an undocumented migrant while that's very current year, while his troops are rounding up other undocumented citizens. This is the real world seeping into Star Wars storytelling. This is the world we live in, reflected in the galaxy far away. Oh, God.
Here's the kicker, though. While I'm sure that happens, there's been many, many cases of it the other way, which is one of the reasons people wanted people to send away, No,
they actually said it. He tried to rape me. Holy shit.
And they're trying to spin it with because you're undocumented. So they're trying to put real world bullshit into it.
Well,
what about all the undocumented that were raping and killing children here? Why aren't you where's the narrative for that one?
You're not allowed to say that. You're not allowed to say that.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't know. This come from the Hollywood Reporter. Andor season 2 premiere scene has real life Nazi inspiration. So we're going.
Well, define. Okay, well that depends. What are you defining that as? Because I know what it was for decades, but what it was and what they're trying to say it is now are two entirely different things.
Yeah. So they're just I mean, look, it's no secret. The Empire. They were space Nazis, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it is what it is, right?
Okay, but again, space Nazis that were like, because George Lucas was very obsessed with Nazis, but like of the kind that were actually legitimately based on Nazism. Yeah. Now, I don't like what you like. You're Nazi. I didn't vote the way you thought I should vote. I'm a Nazi. You're a Nazi. You know what I'm saying? It's like that. It's so ridiculous. It's like what it really was and what they are spinning it to be are two different things. That's why I asked. Is it based on like Lucas's version, which was based on real ones, or is it based on, you didn't vote for Harris, so you're basically a Yahtzee. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's the thing where it's like, okay, because the one account was like, current year politics are seeping into Star Wars. I don't want
to watch it. If it's current year politics, why do I want to watch it?
It's like, let's watch Star Wars to get away from nope. Turn off CNN, turn on Star Wars. And this is, so whatever. I mean, look, at this point, like, and I'm not saying it's bad. I haven't watched it. I don't know.
I haven't seen the episode, so I haven't seen it in context with the other, I have to watch the rest of the first season.
Yeah.
So it might work out be completely fine. My issue is more with him, the comments he was making, but It's just like, I also I don't know if I want to watch it now because I don't really want to see that in Star Wars, but that's my opinion. That doesn't mean other people think the same way and they're allowed to like it if they want to. That's fine.
Well, so let's throw this in at the end here. So there was word that Kathleen Kennedy was stepping down in August. This is the 14th time Kathleen Kennedy has quit.
She should have been gone years ago, according to some people.
Now, somebody apparently reached out to Star Wars News Network, put the article up based on Matt Bellany, who is usually right about this. It was Matt Bellany and Jeff Snyder. And both of those guys have been right in the past. Bellany, I think, used to be in charge of one of the, I think it was Hollywood Reporter or Deadline or something. And he said that he thought that she was going to step down. There was no announcement, celebration. And now they're like, no, she's totally going to step down. And now Star Wars News Network's like, no, we have been corrected. She is not stepping down.
Well, they're not, even if she is, they're not going to let you post it until they decide to announce it. So that doesn't mean that she wasn't going to. It just means that they weren't allowed to announce it. But at this point in time, let's be honest, no one's going to believe it until they actually see it.
No. No. I mean, she's like the Emperor. You can throw her down a shaft and she'll just come back as a clone or something. She'll have her clone set up. It's very telling though, just in the, just to, veer off into a tangent here. We talked about this before, that basically the Rey movie looks like it's on hold indefinitely.
That way.
They're still working on it, but they've been working on Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie for like 10 years.
Oh, they're claiming that he's still doing his.
Okay, someday. Sure. After he gets done ruining Akira, he'll do it. But like, I don't think anything's gonna change. Look, there's George Lucas Star Wars, there's Disney Star Wars, and you can like both, or you can like one and not the other.
Yeah, it's
right. That's fine. And I think we just need to kind of. I mean, I've just accepted the fact that for me, 90% of Disney Star Wars ain't it, and I don't care, and I moved on, and whatever. Right? I mean, it's like whatever. I think a lot of people have moved on. So, are we gonna wrap this up?
Yes.
Let's wrap this up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.